At a family party, I asked, "Where's my present?" Mom smirked. "In the trash." My sister and the others burst out laughing, treating me like a joke. I left in silence. The very next day, my sister came crawling, kneeling at my feet. "Please, I need $100,000. I smiled coldly. "Go get it from the trash." I am Kayla Hayes, 32 years old, and I never thought a family party could break me in seconds. That morning, I sat at the long wooden table in my parents' home, surrounded by clinking plates and chatter, my arms heavy with gifts. I'd spent weeks choosing expensive, thoughtful ones to prove I'd made it after 5 years away. The wrapping paper flew as everyone tore into their presents. My sister's kids squealed. My parents nodded approval, but the pile shrank and my turn never came. I swallowed hard, forced a smile. "Hey, where's my present?" My mom's eyes flicked up a smirk, curling her lips in the trash. My sister burst out laughing, first a sharp mocking sound. The others joined loud, cruel chuckles that hit like a slap, treating me like the family joke. My hand shook on the last gift I'd given, worthless in their eyes. I didn't cry or yell, just stood heart-pounding and walked out the door's click, silencing their laughter. The very next day, my sister called, voice cracking through the video screen, practically kneeling at my feet. "Please, I need $100,000, she begged, eyes desperate. I smiled coldly. "Go get it from the trash." That moment changed everything, and what came after. If you were in this situation, would you lend your sister the money or let her suffer the consequences? Let me know where you are from and how you would handle it. The drive back to East Nashville felt endless when I get home. I slammed the door behind me and collapsed onto the couch, kicking off my shoes with a thud that echoed in the empty living room. My fingers fumbled for my phone, scrolling past unanswered texts from Ryan, my brother. The one who'd always tried to bridge the gap, but even he hadn't spoken up today. No, I needed someone who got it, who wouldn't sugarcoat the mess. Taylor's name lit up the screen as I hit call. She answered on the first ring, her face popping up from her own apartment across town, coffee mug in hand. "Kayla, talk to me. You sound wrecked." I leaned back, rubbing my temples. It was supposed to be simple, a family party to test the waters after all this time. I showed up with everything the vintage watch Dad always eyed in catalogs. The diamond bracelet Mom sighed over years ago. That full Key West getaway from Morgan and her crew. Even the $50,000 seed fund for Ryan's design firm. Thought it'd show them I'm solid now, not the screw-up sister anymore. Taylor set her mug down, eyes narrowing. "And don't tell me they pulled the same old routine, worse," I said, voice low. I waded through all the unwrapping, the kids ripping into their stuff, everyone cooing over what I'd brought. Then nothing. I piped up casual as I could, and Mom. She brushed it off like it was yesterday's news. Morgan led the charge on treating it like a setup for laughs, the whole room piling on. Ryan shifted uncomfortably but stayed quiet. Alexis just smirked behind her hand. It burned Taylor like all those years of grinding away meant zilch. She exhaled slowly. "That's not family. That's a trap. You've clawed your way up without a safety net from them. Remember the nights we crashed on that lumpy futon coating until dawn? This app wasn't some hobby. It connected people across Tennessee from Nashville, songwriters to Franklin locals sharing stories. We turned it into gold." A reminder pulled me straight. I switched to my gallery, thumbing through shots of our milestone moments, the beta launch at a honky tonk meetup, investors nodding over pitch decks in a Broadway cafe, the email confirming the buyout. $500 million on the table from a Silicon Valley giant hungry for Southern roots. My cut $200 million after carving out shares for the team and taxes had let me buy this place outright. No loans, no strings. "And the foundation?" I added, swiping to the latest update. "We've already hooked up 40 young women with grants for their startups right here in Tennessee. Girls like we were told their ideas don't count." Taylor's grin broke through. "Exactly. So why chase scraps from people who toss you aside? Flip the script. If they come sniffing around and they will hit them with the truth, let them choke on it." The idea locked in, cold and clear. I'd spent too long shrinking to fit their box. No more. This time I'd expand the room or burn the damn thing down. Growing up in Franklin, I was always the shadow to Morgan's spotlight. She was the eldest, the golden child straight A's debate club star, already eyeing law school by high school. Mom and Dad hung her every ribbon on the fridge like trophies, while my efforts barely got a nod. I remember winning that regional writing contest at 16. The certificate crisp in my hands as I'd burst through the door. "Look what I got." I shouted, but Mom was on the phone gushing about Morgan's latest scholarship offer. Dad glanced over from his paper. "That's great, kiddo. Hey, pass the salt, dinner's ready." The words stuck in my throat, the paper crumpling in my fist as I slunk to my room. wondering if I'd ever break through the noise. Those moments piled up especially at Centennial Park during family picnics. I'd sketch stories under the Parthenon replica, dreaming up worlds where sisters were allies, not rivals with characters who fought back against the odds. Morgan would practice her violin solos nearby, drawing crowds from passers-by while Mom beamed and Dad filmed every note. I'd tug at Mom's sleeve with my notebook pages filled with scribbled adventures. "Read this." She'd pat my head absently. Later, Honey Morgan's about to play the finale. The rejection stung less each time, hardening into resolve. I stopped sharing dreams aloud, stopped needing their validation to keep writing in secret. High school brought Taylor into the picture. We met in English class at our Franklin High, bonding over late-night edits on essays about Southern Gothic tales, trading ideas on ghosts and redemption arcs. She had this big dreams of coding apps that could link Nashville's music scene with everyday folks, turning isolated talents into networks. "Why chase their approval?" she'd say, tossing her hair during lunch breaks. "Build your own stage, Kayla 1, where your stories go viral." Kissed. We promised to team up after graduation, no matter what paths forked ahead. Vanderbilt came next, a full ride in marketing that I earned on my own. Merit scraping by on scholarships and part-time gigs at campus events. But even as I walked the stage in that cap and gown, the family photo op felt hollow like an afterthought. Mom whispered to Morgan about her upcoming law interview at a firm downtown. Dad checked his watch for the next Foles game on TV. I hugged them briefly, the embrace stiff and fleeting, then packed my bags for East Nashville without a backward glance. That was it, the line in the sand, drawn in red clay. 5 years of radio silence followed. No holiday cards exchanged, no casual calls about my latest project or their daily gripes. I dove headfirst into the grind, crashing on Taylor's futon amid stacks of laptops. While we bootstrapped our app from scratch, it started as a simple idea born from those park sketches, a platform for locals to share gig stories and collabs. Think songwriters linking with venues in real time, Franklin families, swapping recipes for potlucks, or aspiring authors finding beta readers. We coded through humid Tennessee summer sweat beating on our keyboards, pitching at Broadway coffee shops to skeptical investors nursing their lattes. Rejection stung like wasp bites, but Taylor's mantra kept us going. Their no is just fuel for the fire. The breakthrough hit at a honky-tonk beta test during a slow Tuesday night users flocked from. The Barstool's connections sparked overnight as a fiddler linked with a lyricist on the spot. Word spread through Tennessee's creative underbelly like wildfire, landing us that first big funding round in a smoky downtown. Lounge toasts raised with bourbon shots. We scaled fast, after that the app becoming a hub for community threads that went viral during a Music City. Festival threads weaving together, strangers into collaborators. Revenue poured in from partnerships with local labels and event promoters turning our side. Hustle into a 7-figure operation. Mom's call came out of the blue last month. Her voice syrupy sweet over the line from Franklin. "Come home for the party, Kayla. We've missed you. Things are different now, promise." Against every instinct screaming trap, a flicker of hope stirred in my chest. Maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see the woman I'd become, not the girl they'd overlooked. The next morning after the party, I woke to sunlight streaming through my East Nashville apartment, the Cumberland River glinting outside. The sting of yesterday's laughter still raw in my chest. I needed to ground myself to remind myself who I'd become despite their dismissal. My phone buzzed, Taylor insisting on a video call to check in after the disaster in Franklin. I propped the screen on my counter, her face appearing with a raised eyebrow and a half-eaten bagel. "Okay, Kayla, spill what's the plan?" She asked, her voice sharp with that no-nonsense edge I'd leaned on for years. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I opened my gallery and swiped to the photo of our company's new office. A sleek glass, walled building in the heart of East Nashville, our logo glowing in neon above the entrance. "This," I said, holding it up. "This is what they didn't bother to ask about." Taylor nodded, leaning closer as I flipped to the next image, me shaking hands with a tech. Titan, in a San Francisco boardroom, the contract for our app sale pinned to the table. $500 million signed and sealed last quarter. $500 million, I said, my voice steady. We built a platform that rewired how Tennessee connects songwriters, finding gigs, local swapping stories, businesses linking with creators, and after taxes and splitting shares with our team, I walked away with $200 million Taylor. No loans, no favors, just us. She let out a low whistle, setting her bagel down, and the foundation, "Show me." I swiped again, landing on a shot of our nonprofit's launch event, a room packed with young women from Nashville's overlooked corners clutching scholarship letters. 40 grants so far, I said. Startups, college funds, coding boot camps for girls who grew up like we did, told their dreams were too big or not enough. Forbes called it a game changer last month. I tilted the phone to show the magazine cover my name in bold under Tennessee's new trailblazer. Taylor grinned, raising her coffee mug like a toast. From Franklin's invisible kid to this, you're a force, Kayla. They laughed because their clueless used that. Show them what they missed. Her words lit a fire. I'd spent years building this empire not for their approval, but for the life I wanted, one where I called the shots. The photos on my screen weren't just proof, they were ammunition. If my family thought they could brush me off again, they were about to choke on their own joke. I'd waited long enough for them to see me. Now I'd make them face the truth on my terms. My sister's call came that afternoon right on cue. That afternoon, my phone buzzed again, shattering the quiet of my East Nashville apartment. Morgan's name flashed on the screen, and I hesitated, thumb hovering over decline. After yesterday's laughter, I wasn't ready for her voice, but curiosity pulled me in. She'd never called first in years. I tapped accept, and her face filled the video screen, streaked with mascara, eyes puffy from crying. She was in her Franklin living room alone voice, trembling as she spoke from the couch, practically collapsing into the frame. "Kayla, I'm messed up," she choked out, hands twisting in her lap. "Please, I need $100,000. It's urgent. My husband's gambling debts piled up and the bank's breathing down our necks. We could lose everything." Her voice cracked and she leaned closer, almost like she was kneeling through the screen begging. "I'm sorry about the party. It was just a stupid joke. I got caught up in the moment. I didn't mean it." I stared at her, the memory of her barking laugh at brunch slicing through me. Her kids had gotten my gifts, Hayden's art set, Riley's coding toy, Logan's interactive globe. And she'd still led the charge, turning moms in the trash into a family punchline. Now here she was, desperate, claiming it was nothing. My jaw tightened. The old Kayla might have caved, eager to play the good sister, but I wasn't that girl anymore. "You laughed," I said, my tone flat. "You all did. Called me a joke in front of everyone. Mom, Dad, Alexis, even the kids. And now you're here asking for $100,000 like it's pocket change." I leaned back, letting the words sink in. "What you heard, whispers about my deal, and thought I'd just open my wallet." Morgan's eyes widened, panic flickering. "I was wrong. Okay. I was jealous your gifts, your confidence. I've been drowning in stress," and I lashed out. "Please, Kayla, we're family. I'll tell Mom and Dad, make them see you differently. Just help me this once." Her words rang hollow, dripping with the same manipulation I'd heard growing up. Always her spotlight, always her crises stealing the stage. I thought of the nights I'd spent coding in a cramped loft, the rejections Taylor and I pushed through to build our app. Morgan hadn't cared, then hadn't called, hadn't asked. She only saw me now because she needed something. I shook my head, a cold clarity settling in. "You don't get to rewrite the story now, Morgan. You made your choice at that table. Family, that's not what you showed me." My voice stayed steady, but my pulse raced, the weight of years lifting off my shoulders. She opened her mouth to plead again. But I wasn't done. This wasn't about forgiveness anymore. It was about drawing a line. That night I sat in my East Nashville apartment, the city's glow flickering through the window. Morgan's desperate pleas from the afternoon's video call looped in my head, her tears streaked. Face begging for $100,000 to fix her husband's gambling mess. I leaned back on the couch phone and hand her words. "We're family." Kayla ringing hollow against the memory of her laughter at the brunch table. The line had been drawn, and I was ready to end this. I opened our chat, her last message still blinking. "Please just think about it." My fingers hovered, then typed, "Go get it from the trash." I hit send, attaching a photo of a Nashville dumpster, the kind you'd see behind a Broadway bar, with a mocking caption. "Your gift's right here, sis." Her reply came fast to jumbled. "Don't do this, I'm begging you," but I was done. I tapped block, her number vanishing from my screen. Then Mom's. Then Dad's. Ryan's too. His silence at the party just as loud as their laughs. The weight of cutting them off felt like shedding old skin. I called Taylor, her face popping up from her loft across town. "It's done," I said, voice steady but pulse racing. I told Morgan to check the trash for her bailout. Block them all after. Taylor's eyes widened, then softened into a proud smirk. "Good. They don't get to leech off your shine now." The relief hit hard, like a long exhale after holding my breath for years. I'd spent my childhood chasing their approval, shrinking to fit their narrative. Morgan the star, me the afterthought. But I'd built my own world, one where my app connected thousands, where my foundation lifted up women who'd been dismissed like I was. That brunch table, their mocking chuckles, had been their last chance to see me. They blew it, I stood pacing the hardwood floor, replaying the moment Mom smirked in the trash. It wasn't just about a gift, it was every ignored story, every sidelined dream. Morgan's laugh had led the charge, Alexis's smirk, and Dad's awkward chuckle piling on. Even Ryan, who'd whispered support in the past, sat mute. I'd handed them everything, Key West trips, seed money, vintage watches, and got nothing but a punchline. Now Morgan's plea for cash was just another grab at what I'd earned without them. Taylor's voice cut through my thoughts. "You're free, Kayla, no more playing their game." She was right. Blocking their numbers wasn't just petty, it was power. I'd turned their joke into my victory, not with tears or shouting, but with a cold final cut. The app, the money, the life I'd built, they couldn't touch it. No matter how bad your family is, you should still hold on to it. Or is it sometimes the only way to love yourself is to cut it off completely? 6 months later, their world fell apart. Morgan's life unraveled, first her law career in Franklin, collapsing under the weight of her husband's gambling debts. A public scandal splashed across Nashville's local news after creditors seized their assets, cost her the partnership she'd bragged about at the party. Alexis filed for divorce, citing financial ruin, leaving Hayden, Riley, and Logan caught in a messy custody shuffle. Morgan's calls stopped. She had no one left to beg. I didn't check on her. Didn't need to. The headlines told me enough. Dad's small construction firm tanked next. Brandon's contracts dried up when clients caught wind of his shaky finances. A domino effect from backing Morgan's loans behind closed doors. He'd always played the steady provider, but his silence at the brunch table, chuckling along with moms in the trash, showed where his loyalty lay. Now his office sat empty. A foreclosure notice taped to the door in Franklin's business district. He didn't reach out either. Not that I expected him to. Mom's perfect socialite image crumbled last. Chelsea, who'd orchestrated that party with her practiced smile, found herself shunned. By her country club circle after the family's downfall became gossip fodder. She'd built her life on appearances, Morgan's achievements, Dad's stability. But with both gone, her invitations dried up. Neighbors whispered about her alone at home, no longer hosting her famous potlucks. Ryan, the only one who'd ever have tried to stand up for me, moved to Knoxville, dodging the wreckage. I didn't hear from him again. I didn't gloat. Didn't need to. I was done chasing their validation, done letting their laughter define me. In East Nashville, Taylor and I opened our foundation's new office, a bright space buzzing with women, pitching their startups, songwriters, coders, entrepreneurs who'd been told they weren't enough. Our app's legacy lived on connecting communities across Tennessee, while my $200 million fueled dreams for those who'd been overlooked like I once was. My new home, a loft with a rooftop deck over the Cumberland held art from local galleries, not family photos. I'd built my own family, Taylor, my team, the women we lifted up. The party had been their last chance to see me, not as the kid they dismissed, but as the woman who'd outgrown their box. Morgan's plea for $100,000. Mom's smirked, Dad's averted eyes, they'd shown their cards. I'd played mine better. Cutting them off wasn't just about revenge. It was about protecting my peace. Some families aren't worth saving, not when they thrive on tearing you down. So I ask you, have you ever had to walk away from people who couldn't see your worth? Did you try to fix it? Or did you cut the cord like I did? Share your story below. Your truth matters, and it might just spark someone else's. Like and subscribe. If you believe in building a life that's yours, no apologies needed.